Hello, it's Nancy welcoming you to Gardens Grow. Today is the first day of May, and I planted all this last week, and I still lack just a little bit. I may get those today, and I may have to take a break. I am so tired, but things are looking great. Last week I showed you what I did in the front gardens, and today I hope to take you back and show you some of the things that I've done and that's going on in the garden in the backyard. Of course, irises are blooming everywhere. I love the beautiful iris. They just don't last long enough, but neither does any plant. I always wonder when we get to heaven, will there be plants and will they all bloom at the same time? You know, you see it in pictures, but you know that's not real because they just have their own little bloom time, their own little bloom season. But anyway, either way, it is beautiful. It's just so beautiful to focus in on the beauty in the garden. But can't you just imagine what it could be like if it was all blooming at the same time? Look at this beautiful clematis bloom. The clematis are beginning to bloom all over the garden here and there, and they are just one of the beauties of spring. But all the little new things I put in are not making a showing yet, but you have to have a start, and this is their start, and I'm so anxious to watch them grow. This is one of my favorites, has become one of my favorites recently, is the Calibrachoa coleus. And then this one I planted yesterday, and you can tell the stem of it was rotten. I didn't notice it when I put it in there, or it wasn't that bad when I put it in there. But this top is good, and I may just come back out here and clip it back and put it in the ground or in the soil at this point right here with some rooting powder in it, because it's not going to make it from that rotting stem. But this part could make it, or it may not, but we've got to give it a try. I love this beautiful dark. I think this is the darkest iris maybe that I have in the garden. More beautiful clematis. And my roses are beginning to come back. They're still struggling from the cold, but I think they'll survive, hopefully. There's so many things beginning to make a showing in the garden now. You can see on this west side of the house where the peonies are blooming. They're not all in bloom, but they're mostly all at least budding. I noticed yesterday that I had some of the iris. These right here are falling over in my pathway, and I noticed that this little spot right here alongside this fence is totally got nothing in it, so I think I may transplant a few iris in that spot. This little plant, it just has always came right back for me. But this year it did not. In places that cold just got it in this little pot. It just didn't make it. but the ones that were in the ground made it fine. So it's always a good idea to have some part of each plant in the ground as well as in the pots. They look great there, and lots of times they do come back, but it's depending on the weather. This little pot will have to be a before shot because I did not get anything planted in it. Or in this one right here. There's actually several I did not get things planted in. This little one came back for me, but there was something there behind it that did not, so I'll want to spruce it up a bit too at some point. Right now I'm going to have to take a break. I absolutely have to take a break. And I was running out of things, so this needs some more help too, but I did put a little Dusty Miller in there because they just soften and make everything else more beautiful. And then I put a two-toned purslane moss in here. This one right now just has the Dusty Miller and a little purple alyssum, so we'll see what happens there. I'm sure I'll have to put some more stuff in there with it. So I'll definitely have to have another plant shopping day, but I'm just not ready for that yet. And I have not thinned out this mum. I took a little piece off of it to put in the front in a pot, but for the most part all this still needs to be divided. That's too much for this area. It just covers up everything. It actually was covering up this little plant, and I can't really remember what plant that is, but I know if I put it there I want it, and I don't want it to just be crowded out. There's some more beautiful iris over there too. They're one of my favorites. The blue with that little white flash in the center. So pretty. Did not put anything in this pot. It does have yarrow, the smaller yarrow, that's a pretty pastel color coming up in there, and that may be all it needs. It's also coming up in this pot, and that may have been all this one needed, but I did go ahead. Of course it already had this pretty little alyssum, but it's going away. You can tell that the bloom is much more sparse, and now you can even see too that it has little seed on there. I'll probably save some of that seed. I think this little plant could probably get out of hand too, but hopefully it won't. It's so beautiful right now. I'm just so enjoying it. And this little pot is totally filled up with that yarrow, that pastel yarrow. And then there is a little room here in front, and it would look pretty with some little trailing plant there, maybe a petunia. So I may see if I can spruce it up a bit too. And then I want to try, I got my foxtail. Well, they're also called desert candles. I'm not thinking what else they're called, but they have been hard for me to get started. So I got some cactus soil, and I'm going to try to dig up a little area. This one right here looks like a good candidate for it to be dug up and put something pretty there. But I'm hoping to do that, and I don't know if I'll get that done today. I may wait until next week to get into that part of it too. And then I thought I might put, I think I got 6, so I may put some over in this area somewhere. I'm just not real sure yet. We'll just go on around this way just for a minute at least, so you can see the peonies are beginning to bloom. It's kind of misty right now, and they're still wanting to stay folded up. But they are in beautiful bloom. This one is a bright red, and the one just close beside it is a beautiful pink. And then I think all the way down, they're just budded right now, but pretty soon they'll be in full bloom too. And then of course on the other side is our iris, beautiful iris blooms. I might have to just go on down there and show you that one. It's just so pretty, that yellow one with white in it too. Somehow the white sets it off even more. And then I love this little color too. It's just so soft and lacy, feminine looking. But now I'm going to go back around. I'm still laying garden hoses. I have not got them all done yet. I just focus more in on planting, but I've got to get that done, and it does seem to be helping. I'm hoping it will continue to not clog up and be a problem again. You can see there's a peony here that's fixing to bloom. There's one here that will bloom soon, and it's a beautiful like peppermint color with white and red or bright pink swirls through it. I need to trim this. I promised myself I'm going to try to keep it where you can always get under it, but right now you can't very well, not without wading through the long trindles of it. But I do love them, but I just want it to be a canopy and not a cover up, as I said before. So I will get out here at some point and do that. There's also roses that I was waiting to see if they would go ahead and come out of it, and they're not. So there's bunches of old dead canes on roses I've got to get out of here too at some point. We still haven't got our stumps all burned out. So I've still got stuff stacked up on my little bench. Look at this. This is my Princess Diana, one of them. I have two. This one is always darker. I don't know if it's because it's shaded a little more or if they're just a slightly different variety, but they're a little different, but they still have that same shape to them. Last year my pretty blue columbine was totally taking over, so I thinned it out more than I did the well, let me come over here where I can show you where this pretty soft mauvey pink I thinned and now of course, you know, it wouldn't just be even. Now what I've got is much fewer of the pretty blue or purple columbine, as opposed to so much of the mauve is just coming up everywhere. So I guess I'll have to take some of the mauve out this time, but it's all pretty and I do like it. I just don't want, I never want one thing to just take over. I just want it all to be pretty and all to be lots of color. This is some more of the alyssum. How pretty it was when it was just all a billow of yellow, but it's going away. Pretty soon there'll be nothing left there but the little blue-green foliage. But it was pretty while it lasted. Definitely worth having out there to me. I did plant some little starts that I had in the windows. This is I think it's a passion vine and also another Mexican flame vine. I'm rooting this in so it looks pitiful right now, but I think it will take root and grow and be beautiful. I may have to clip the tops of it off, but once it gets going, I think it's going to be just beautiful. And there's another pretty iris. going right in with that Arkansas Insomnia, and I'm probably not saying that right, but it's a beautiful little plant. And in the fall it has a beautiful yellow, golden yellow foliage. And look, just look, last year there was one of these and I was so excited that I had a bloom, and this year it's going up the trellis. Pretty soon it'll have this whole little clothesline umbrella trellis just covered. Isn't it gorgeous? Yesterday I was out here working and I saw a red bird sitting in this. I didn't even try to go in and get the camera. I knew it wouldn't be there when I came back out, and I was just too busy, but it was a gorgeous sight. And this little pot right in front, I think I may have already told you that I did finally get her painted, and she looks good there. I put some, this is verbena, and of course this is the Silver Falls Chandra. Doesn't look like much now. It will come out over there, flow down, and reach the ground by the end of the season. And it looks so good with, I'm going to clip off this little bit of the verbena right there. But this Dashandra and this Dusty Miller are perfect together. I'm quite sure that God made them to go together. So I'm glad I was able to put them together for him. I wouldn't begin to tell you what he's done for me, because I couldn't make it without him. He's the breath we breathe. And then this little pot, I don't know. Oh, I was going to say in the back of this, I planted this little Calibrachoa. And there's how my Calibrachoa do. See, it just promptly looked like it was dying. So I cut back a whole bunch of it. And this morning, look, it does have some new little growth, or it greened up in places, so I'm still hoping that it'll make it. These little plants look so pathetic. I don't know if they will make it. These are some of the starts out of the windows too. They have a struggle when they first get out here, but if they do make it, in a few months or weeks, you really can't tell which one started out looking that scraggly and which ones I just purchased from a nursery, and they do okay, and I'm grateful for that. I haven't really put anything in this pot in the backs, and this like I say is the alyssum that is going away, going to seed, and soon all that will be left is just this little pretty blue foliage, which is pretty. I love that blue color. That's why I guess I love a Dusty Miller so. And then right here, these are looking so scraggly. I almost hate to show them to you, but this will be another before, because I'm thinking that once these fill out, they're just going to look so pretty. It'll take them a while. Oh, and look, this is the, I went ahead and put out my little purple splash peppers because they were dying in the house. Several of them died, and I thought, let me put them outside where God can have a closer look at them, to care for them. He does so much better than I do. But he needs us. God uses us. Well, I'll take that back. He doesn't need us. He loves us enough to use us for his glory, and that is wonderful, and I love that. I love that about him, that he will allow us to love him, that he will allow us to be a part of what he's doing. Isn't that awesome? And then right over here, I did put a few things in here, which also, I don't know, I'm going to just be telling you everything looks scraggly, because when it starts it does look scraggly, but it won't stay scraggly, I don't think. I think it's going to do great. And these little plants did have a tough start, because right when I bought them, we got that cold spell that they had to be brought in and kept in the house, in my house. You know how I am with houseplants, so yeah. But anyway, they had a little bit of a rough start, but lots of times we have a rough start. I'm having a rough start getting this going, but getting my YouTube going, but I think with the Lord's help, and maybe I'll find a mentor that'll be able to help me get it put together where it'll all click together better. Something's not quite put together right, I don't think. And I'm just learning this, so you know, it's hard to get the gardening done and try to learn anything about the technology part because I just don't know that. But oh, look at this beautiful Wildula, and I'm not saying that right probably either. I was going for this pretty 9-bark, and then this beautiful Wildula is going to bloom for me this year too. And I'll have to take you over to show you the one there behind it that's pink, because it's blooming even more. But on the way, I'll show you this too. This is an amaryllis that I took out of mine for my brother-in-law, Bobby, and I'm going to take that over to him as soon as I get a chance to. And it may not do much this year since it's being transplanted at the time it's blooming, but it has a big, beautiful bulb, 2 or 3 of them actually, and they will go ahead and keep going for him. Hopefully. His died in the cold. I think it just had to do with where they were and how the cold weather came through, because mine did great, but I did lose several things. I lost several things that I'll have to replace. Actually, in the front, I lost my burning bush. I'm pretty sure. Still waiting, hoping it might come back. Look, the bridal spirea is going away too. It will soon be time to clip that back. And then this is my pink Wildula. Isn't that pretty? And then right across from it, I did a little bit here, not a whole lot either, but this is a pretty African daisy in purple. This is a bat flower in black and red. These are just little snapdragons. And then this is a tiny little start from the window. It may just stay a start from the window, or I may have this one for a before, and we may come out here one day and it may be almost as tall as this little angel. I just noticed that I have some of the Trinity plant or widow's tears blooming in this pot. I planted a castor bean right here and I had soaked it. I thought it would be right up, but it's not, so I may have to try that one again. Oh, and also this is one place where I lost because I thought these would all come back, and this is the one I planted this year. All the rest of them are gone. I lost, and I had lots of pretty bog garden plants in this, so I lost a lot of the pretty Siberian and Japanese irises. I think I may have had a cardinal plant in there too. And then of course I have not done anything here to this little pot, but I will at some point when I get recharged. I've got to recharge and regroup a little bit. And then also I took the time out. These all died out, of course, in the small pots. They don't have a whole lot of a chance. But anyway, they died out, and I went ahead and refilled all of these little pots. I filled this little pot. It looks scraggly like they all do. Oh, look up above it though. This is an established plant. That's a part of that Wildula. Isn't that pretty? But these are just starting. But this is a Kingswood torch coleus, and these are strawberry drop coleus. If they are able to do anything like they did last year, remember they just billowed out and covered the pot up on the edges. It was so pretty. And I put some more of the Silver Falls Dachandra with another Dusty Miller here. And I put a little petunia. I'm not sure what color this one is, but I just got a little triple pack of mixed color, so I think it might be pink though. So I put it in here with her. She needs something to make her shine. And then this was another little petunia, but it's probably not going to make it. And I'll probably get a few more little trailing plants, either petunias or alyssum, maybe both, to put in this little pot. Although sometimes I have a tendency to fill the pot too full because they do need room to grow. I also love to see them growing together and flowing into each other. These are those scraggly little window rootings that I rooted, but oh my, this is a beautiful little thing too. It does trail, and it's just so sharp and pretty when it gets all of its color and all of its glory, which I hope it will do. I know there's always a chance these won't even make it at all, but there's always a chance they'll grow into something beautiful. And now we're back around to the other end of my row of iris and peonies and daylilies. And then right across over here is my pretty globe carrier bush, and it's not looking so good, and that's also due to the weather. I had to trim it off so the flowers didn't well, they came out a few little scraggly ones, but that's all because I trimmed. You should always trim them right after they bloom. Almost every tree that blooms, or every little bush that has a pretty bloom on it, you want to trim right after it blooms, I've learned, because if you trim it later on, it had already started putting on its bloom for next year, and you would trim it off. So they all need to be trimmed before they start putting on bloom. Well, right after they bloom, that's when they need to be trimmed. But this can be a beauty. Oh, it was such a beauty last year, and I think it will be again. It may struggle through it, but it made it through it. And then we're over here to this fence row, and I did so much here. It took so many days to do all this, but this at the top one just has a little spike, and it has some little clippings of the Euphorbia diamond frost. Like there's some more right down here. The little white looks like little tiny white lights. That's what it reminds me of. And then this is Pinta. This is some more of the Kingswood torch coleus, and a few little verbenas hanging out, in a couple of annual red salvias in the back. Here's another peony that's budded out good, and it won't be too long before it blooms. I actually planted some new color of phlox here. I can't remember which one this is, but hopefully it will do well. And then here you can tell what the diamond frost euphorbia looks like. I think I can get it in where it's, I can get it in focus good, because it is such a beauty. It looks just like little lights. And then this is a white bacopa. I have a blue one over on the other side. And then this is a Calibrachoa. I'm so besotted with these Calibrachoas, all of them. And I can't seem to grow them, but I have figured out, I think I figured it out. Why I can't is because I need a pot that will actually water itself, one of the self-watering pots, because it needs a consistency of moisture where it doesn't get too moist but it never dries out. And I'm not really able to do it in these pots, although I'm going to try again anyway because I just love it so much. This is a beautiful white and yellow one, and this is a pretty purple and yellow, which you can't really tell now, but one day I'll come out here and show you, and they will. And this is a fan flower, a scabiosa plant. It's a brighter blue than this, or purple. It really is a purple. I would call it a purple myself, and I call most things blue that other people call purple, because I think of it more as a navy blue. And this little pot got this is in the morning glory family, but it's a little bush morning glory, and it's called Blue Days. And some of the coleus is from the window, but these are so pretty. If they will just go ahead and live, they will be beautiful, because they've got a bunch of pink and deep mauve too. You never know which color is going to come out to be the more dominant color. And this little pot got a purple salvia, annual salvia, some of the scraggly little things from the windows, and then some purple alyssum and petunias. I put that pretty little new plant I was telling you about, that kind of like a cross between a penta and a periwinkle. Oh my, this one is looking so bad. I've seen them come out of it looking like this. As soon as they get their root down and get it growing and sturdy themselves up, and they'll pick right up. I would have to, now this one may not, but I have seen them look this bad and still come out of it, so I'm hoping it will. I may have to go ahead and clip all the old dead stuff out, but I'm going to leave it right now, because I think it helps aid in it going ahead and putting its roots down. And then it's got a scraggly looking little geranium in there, and a petunia, and I'm going to go ahead and break this one off because it's spent. We're coming down to this little pot. I kept this girl in the house all winter. She's a little bit fragile, but isn't she sweet? And then this one has, let me see, that ursine, or I'm not sure how you say this, but this is a pretty little plant with that bright pink veining and a dark foliage. And then this is a periwinkle. These may be some of the purple ones that I showed you earlier. And then a couple more little starts from the window. And this little pot got, this one is a start from the window. It's actually looking good. I put this one in late last night, so it hadn't had the effects of the sun yet. And these little dianthus came back even in the pot, so that was great. And then I did put this has the purple veining in it, and I think it will show off more when it blends in with this purple salvia. And I'm pretty sure that this petunia is a purple one, a dark double purple. And then this one back here is another one. Hopefully they're the same color, and that will just blend in well together. And then we have this little pot. This is that pretty licorice plant that's called icicles. I love it. And of course that's the pretty purple that I was talking about. It's a common little periwinkle. It's just a favorite of mine. My Chinese dunce cap is, I still think this is all going to come out. Look at this. You would not think it would, but then look at this. It did look like that, and now it's looking like that. So I think it will come out of it. Won't that be great? It'd be so pretty, just like it was last year. Break the old dead ones off so you can see the beautiful fresh ones. Oh look, my columbine is finally beginning to bloom. Oh, I did this one in the dark or not dark, but late last night, and you can tell it's not even in the ground well. I can't come outside without getting filthy. I'm going to put it back down in the ground a little better. And this has got some of that ursine, or however you say that, IRSINE. And then I put a spike in there, some verbena, another Dusty Miller. And if they all grow up and do beautifully and mix together, there's another beautiful pot. So I think that's about it for the west fence as far as putting pots together. And now I've got to get my hoses together and pretty much just watch it grow. But there's still a lot I need to do. There's still lots of pots that I haven't filled, but I'll get that done eventually. I'm definitely going to take a break from it because it's just too much right now. Oh, look at this. Looks like the winds have taken a bunch of this down, but oh, how pretty it is. So pretty. This little pot hasn't got anything in it yet, but I'll get to that. This little clematis that's climbing around it is looking great. However, the one that was up this one is not looking great, but hopefully it will. I can hear my husband talking to our neighbor, so you may be able to hear him on here too. But we're just about all the way around it now, so I'm going to close it up pretty quickly. Look at this, is the keys of heaven. This can get out of hand too. It just puts down little seeds and keeps going, but it's so pretty. So far I've been able to move it around places where it doesn't have a place where it can just get out of hand too badly. Look at these beautiful. I wish one was open for you so you could see how pretty they are. I may put a picture on here of one of them when I put this on. Here's some of my blue columbine. Here's some results of the freeze right here. I thought they might still live, but they're not. They're just not. They're gone. But I'll put something pretty here and we'll get it all going. So I guess I'm going to end up telling you goodbye for this morning and for this post, and I'll get back with you later. Let me go over here and get the amaryllis while I'm seeing them over here. These are some of the roses that did not come back that I'll have to trim back. And over here, oh my, it's all dead except for a little bit coming out right down here. But I'll have to be very careful here because I do not want to destroy my pretty little clematis that's growing up this dead rose. You know what's the most beautiful thing in the garden? It's the thing you're focused in on. And that's the way it is in life too. There's so much beauty to behold when you just focus in on it. Here is where I dug up this is a hardy amaryllis, and it made it through that freeze. Of course, it's on the south side of the house, has a little wind block there, and it also has a lot of plants around it to protect it. So I just dug it up from right here, and I still have plenty. This will proliferate itself, and someday I'll have enough to maybe give away another one. But right now I'm planning on keeping these, but aren't they pretty? I can't get them to do this in my home, and my brother-in-law Jerry can. Oh, his are gorgeous, tall, strong stem, just like these, only they're in the house. Mine in the house, that poor little weak stem. It looks like my little seedlings that I do. They just come up like a hair and fall over. But I did get some of them, and I do have them planted out here, and I think that they're going to get strong now, those little seedlings. I'm hoping they do. That's the hope. And also I noticed that I've always loved this little brown and white. Is so pretty, and I've noticed that a lot of them turned into yellow and brown, but that's pretty too. I just hope to be able to keep some of the white and brown also without it just changing all over to one color. I want a lot of color. That was the plan too when I started the garden, and I'm wanting to do it where I can put it to music and get it out through some media. It was going to be a DVD, but the DVDs are going out, so I'll have to find another media. I needed some help in that area, and I don't have time to learn because I'm always out here trying to keep this alive. But we don't have anything if we don't have our base, and my garden is my base. And my reason for doing it is for the glory of God. This is what He created, and we don't really do anything. We can't create anything. We can take what He's created and make it into something special, something that wasn't there before. So that's our form of creation, and I love it. But you know, it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort, and I think He's proud of us for doing that with what He created. And look, and He's like a parent saying, look what they did. I made this, and look how they put this together. Look what they did with this. I think He's proud of us. So I feel like I need someone to be proud of me today because it was such a hard week. But you can see that it's going to be worth it all. So I am going to go ahead and go in and tell you bye for today, and hope you have a great week, and we'll see you back next week. Thank you for coming on the Garden Scrolls with me. Please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel.